Hi, I'm Larry Stack. 3 years ago on 4th of July, I wasn't feeling exactly right, and I wasn't too concerned because my doctor 2 weeks before had said, well, you have diabetes and you're over 50 and don't worry about that, you're having trouble walking. But the walking was getting more difficult, and I thought, after I got off the subway and said goodbye to my friends, well, why don't I just go into the local hospital, Roosevelt Hospital, which I really didn't know very well, into the emergency room, and just to make sure I'm okay. And basically they did one test, and they said, why don't you spend the weekend? And I'm like thinking, it's all right, I'll spend the weekend. Very calmly, not, they said, maybe we'll just need to check some stuff on Monday. So spent the weekend, called up my friends, we had a party at the hospital. On Monday, Dr. Kornberg, who was in the cardiology department, gave me an angioplast. And he says, well, your heart looks okay, but suddenly this doesn't look okay. And he said, this really doesn't look okay. And I'm like, what's going on? Well, an hour later, I'm back in my room, and suddenly him and Dr. Switzel, who's the head of the cardiac surgery, comes in and says, we have to do radical bypass surgery on you, and we're going to take arteries from your chest. And I asked, well, how long? And they said it takes about 6 hours. And I go, how many of these have you done? So Dr. Switzel very calmly says, well, I've done about 7,000 or 8,000. So I'm like, still not knowing really what's going on, and my sister not knowing Roosevelt Hospital either. And these people thinking maybe we need to go to another hospital. Well, Dr. Kornberg got on the phone with her and very strongly but calmly said, he doesn't have time. Got to have this done. And they weren't kidding around, because they then rushed me to St. Luke's where the surgery was done. That's part of Roosevelt. And I had a special room, and the nurse there said, you must be very important, and Letterman had just had his thing done just recently, and they said, because you're very, that they're doing this tomorrow right away. And sure enough, they did it the next day, and, recovery took about a month. And now, 3 years later, here I am doing this video, and I have I have all these doctors, Dr. Kornberg, Dr. Myerson, Dr. Fu, Dr. Frankel, all these people who, they're not really my friends, but I see them every 3 months, and they very much, we're a partnership, that I do my part, and they do their part, and that I'm alive. And if it wasn't for not for my primary care doctor, who I listened and, God knows what happened, but for Roosevelt Hospital and for these very concerned doctors who basically took me from the outside and took care of me, that I'm here doing this today.